Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. It is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. I'm your host, Roland Kerson, aka everybody that knows me, friends, roll nice. So today we are going to talk about, like I posted, the Chow Verdict that happened here in Columbia, South Carolina, just this past week. So this episode, I'm going to break it down in layers. We're going to start with the verdict and domino into other things, and then with that being such a serious topic, we're going to start there, then go to something a little bit lighter afterwards. So for those who don't know, about in 2023, young man was shot in the back at a running away from a gas station in Columbia, South Carolina on Park Lane. The person that did the shooting was an Asian man named, I think his name was Rick Chow, and a young 14-year-old black boy was shot in the back and killed. So, I remember the story when it happened in 2023. The trial has been, I guess, waiting, just started in 2026. How crazy it took 3 years almost to start the trial. And now that trial had concluded, I think Monday or Tuesday, he was found not guilty of shooting the 14-year-old African-American boy in the back while he was running away. So he's found not guilty of murder. So that's a big thing right there for me. I want to start by saying it's going to be controversial. The legal system worked, but it didn't work. And I guess how I could say that is, in this country, the legal system is designed that if you're charged with something, you're entitled due process, and you're innocent until found guilty in a court of law by a jury of your peers, however that may work. So I guess Mr. Chow's trial started about 2 weeks ago. Little bit of backstory that what I know. Again, I don't know everything. I just know what I remember. They say the 14-year-old boy brandished a gun. He stole some waters. Then he ran out the store, and as he was running away, he got shot in the back from about 100 yards away. And this camera footage showing him picking up the waters, putting back the waters. There's no camera footage showing him brandishing the gun in the store. It's. I don't want to go back to that part because it's all kind of muddy water. So let's go to the verdict. The verdict, he was found not guilty of murder. So that's a tricky situation. So he was found not guilty of murder. Now there's a lot of speculation that maybe the prosecutor overcharged, because murder is always a tough charge to convict on in a case like this, because you got to show premeditation to a certain level in different degrees of murder, how you charge someone. So I don't think, and I guess it's maybe knowing some of the facts that's come out in this case, maybe the murder was premeditated, because this man has already, from what I gather, shot at other people before in the past and got into fights with young African-American kids in his store in the past. So premeditation is tricky, but none of that was brought up in the trial. So maybe the state prosecutor maybe overcharged. Maybe we should have went for manslaughter and maybe got a conviction, because it mind-boggling that you could shoot someone in the back and walk, and everybody knows that if you shoot someone even in the back while they're running away, even after the commission of a crime, it's illegal. You can't shoot someone in the back because while they're running away, because they're posing no threat to you at the time. It wasn't like it was a shootout and he was running away shooting back at the man and his family. He was clearly running away. So there's a lot of stories saying that it was Mr. Chow, his wife, and his son. They were in the store. They got into an altercation. Some say Mrs. Chow started the altercation with the young black boy. Some say um, the son actually did the shooting and the father took the charges to protect his son's future. Whatever that may be, to shoot a young boy in the back and get away with it is despicable, and it shows that in the South, you know, that we as black people are treated so unfairly. Now, again, whether he stole something, whether he didn't steal something, whether he had a gun on him, whether he didn't, he was still shot in the back while running away. And that is, again, in this state, a crime. You cannot shoot someone in the back while they're running away. It's not classified as self-defense. That person is not opposing any kind of danger or threat to you while they're running away. So now that he's been found not guilty, he's been set free. And I think this took place on Monday or Tuesday. It's just been a lot going on. So the next layer of that verdict is the backlash from the black community. So they have vandalized his store. He has, and being from Columbia, I've seen the footage. I didn't ride by there. About 30 Richland County deputy sheriffs have been posted at his store for a couple of days. His home address got leaked on Facebook. He had Deputy County or Richland County or City of Columbia police at his home for protection. So this man shot someone in the back, a young black boy, and killed him, but he gets all the protection. He walks, but he gets all the protection. I just find that disgusting, and the law enforcement after the fact is not working. The law is not working after the fact. Like I said, that's why I said it's a tricky statement that the legal system, I won't say justice system, the legal system did what it was designed to do, but at the same time, it did not do what it was designed to do. So, like I said, now we're on the backlash of the verdict, from the vandalism of the store, the protests, and the backlash from the black community, his parents, to civil rights activists, to the Black Panther Party now being in Columbia. So we're talking about the backlash, and we're talking about boycotting Asian businesses. And let's break down, because everybody want to say it's about racism. So we got to get a clear understanding of what racism is. So racism is the control of resources, goods, and services by one set of individuals to oppress another set of individuals. Bigotry is, you just don't like me because I'm of a different race, creed, color. That's bigotry. Now, is racism the child of bigotry? I do believe so, in my personal opinion. So we have to clarify that, because everybody wants to say everything about it being racist. No, it's just a bunch of bigots. And bigots don't always have to be of the Caucasian persuasion. Racism is people just trying to control goods and services and resources to oppress another set of people. That is backed by bigotry and by deep-seated, long-term bigotry here in the South and across this country as a whole. So, like I said, the backlash is people calling for boycotting of Asian businesses. And there's a video of a man stating that he don't need, Asian people don't want the black dollar. They don't need the black dollar. It's not important. Now, I'm going to stand on this and say not all Asian people are racist. Not all Asian people are bigots. But a lot of different nationalities see black people as a threat because how we've been portrayed in this country overall. So we have to understand, to change things, we have to understand where that fear comes from. It comes from the news, bigotry, and we got to take accountability about the way we act to each other and in the community that has spawned these kind of negative stereotypes that lead to situations like this. So now everyone is in uproar saying boycott Asian businesses and boycott everything that's Asian. I am going to tell you from my personal experience, not everyone that's Asian is a racist or a bigot. But we have to dig deeper into that. So I think you should stay away from those businesses that make you feel uncomfortable, that the owners don't like you, don't want you there. Those are the businesses you stay away from. It's hard to know, but some places do tip their hat and show their cards, full disclosure, that they don't like us, they don't want our money, they don't want us around, but they will put their businesses in our community because they know that's where the dollars are. Now, they have a right to put their businesses wherever they may choose, but we have a right not to patronize them. So, if we want to go that route and go deeper, then we need to understand what we're talking. To boycott everything that is Asian is to give up 90% of everything we own. From the groceries, the food, to electronics. If we really going to take it there, then we better take it there. And I mean, give up our cell phones, our PlayStations, our TVs, our Xboxes, our everything. 90% of everything we own was made by Asian people in some shape or form. So if we're going to go that route, then we got to get on our job and learn how to build the things that we enjoy and comforts in this life. Cell phones, TVs, everything. I mean, you can't go into most things and buy most goods and services that don't say made in China, made in Taiwan, made in Korea. Everything that we have that gets mass produced is made in a foreign country of probably Asian heritage. So we got to be able to willing to step it up and go way deep. That's why I said this whole thing comes in layers. Because we're not ready to give up everything. We could say boycott Asian businesses. So let's be specific about what we're talking about, boycott Asian businesses. And I know for a fact that all Asian people are not racist or bigots. The real estate company that I am a part of, Out of the Box Real Estate, we have, I believe, 3 people of Asian nationality or Asian descent on our brokerage. And the irony that I know that they're not racist or bigots is because the broker in charge, shout out to Kim Miller of Out of the Box Real Estate, is an African American woman. It's her business. She opened it. It's her business. So if you are a bigot or a racist, the last thing you're going to do is work under someone of an African American descent. Now, as real estate agents, we are independent contractors, but we all know as the people, there's real estate agencies and brokerage houses all over. So you can choose who you hang your license with. It is pure choice. You don't get hired. We're not W-2. We don't get paychecks. We get commission. So we choose who we hang our license with. So as people of Asian heritage or Asian descent, I'm not going to specify their nationalities because I'm not sure, but I know of Asian descent or Asian, then they chose to hang their license with this black woman because they believed in her her message and what she's trying to do. So we have to think about that. And you know, you see people talking about go to these black owned hair stores, go to these black owned nail salons and things of that nature, these black owned restaurants. Like, we need to understand what we're talking about. So then we need to get on our jobs. Our women, black women that know they love their hair products and wigs and weaving, we need to open our black owned beauty supply stores run by black people selling black owned products. So we got to go deep, because even though you may not frequent a Asian beauty supply store, I can lay you 10 to 1, even at the black owned beauty supply store, some of their products come from countries that are of Asian heritage. So we as black people, black women, black men need to get on, open up our own nail salons. Like, we're not equipped to take it to that level. And if we're gonna take it to that level, then that's fine. Then we gotta go all the way. We can't just say boycott Asian businesses. You need to boycott the Asian businesses where they have shown you the compensity to dislike or disrespect us as a people. Those are the ones that you need to stay away from. And I've been out yesterday in Columbia and seen some of the effects. Some of these Asian hair stores that normally are packed on Saturday were a little dry, which was amazing. But at the same time, you also are hurting, not to be funny, the black community. Because as you boycott these Asian businesses, as much as we don't want to admit it, we have young black women that work at these hair stores. We have young black people that work at these restaurants. So think about that. You're also boycotting these places, and you could force some members of our community out of a job. So it's a double-edged sword, but we got to be ready to dive on that sword all the way, or not, or not just really just blow smoke. Because that's a sword that we got to dive on, and we got to dive on, and we got to go deep, and to give up almost everything we use and do in a day-to-day basis. Our country as a whole, not just African Americans, our country, we import so much stuff from Asia and Asia and Asian countries. It's not even funny. So even as a country, as much as we would like to, as black people, like to step away, everything that we use, 90% of the products that we use and goods that we consume and services that we consume are provided by foreigners. You know, we love our Lexuses, our Toyotas, our Nissans, our Hondas, our Kias, our Hyundais. The vehicles that we make are made by these people that we're talking about boycotting. So we need to learn how to make our own cars from scratch. We need to open our own automobile manufacturer, our own cell phone manufacturer, our own computers. We got to do it all. That's why I say it's layers to this. It's not just, it's a domino effect. It ain't just, oh, this incident happened, so we need to boycott this group of people and their businesses. Because I do believe we need to make them respect us by hitting them where it hurts. But we got to be mindful of how we present that message, because we're not ready as a people to go that deep with it. Because it gets deeper than just some hair stores, some gas stations, and some restaurants for food. It is much, much deeper than that. So, and we got to know that all of them are not racist. All of them are not bigots. All of them do not hate us. Yes, do I agree sometimes we need to keep black dollar in the black community? Then that's fine. Then we need to do better at opening businesses, owning gas stations, owning restaurants, and maintaining them. not doing shady business, just maintaining them to provide jobs and services and goods to our community if we're going to take it there. That is so important, and that is one of the biggest layers to this domino effect that this verdict has had on the community. You know, it's great to see the Black Panther Party in Colombia supporting and helping black people and protesting. With the protesting parents, if you're going to let your child, and yes, because he was 14, a lot of his siblings and peers were out there protesting at the gas station. If you're going to let your children out there, teach them how to protest and protest the right way. Because this whole situation has caused the bigots to show their hand. And I've seen a post on Facebook where the kids were protesting, standing out in the street, kind of holding up traffic, but it wasn't violent. And then a white man posted, "Hey, I got he was saying something about bowling, and he wanted to go bowling with no brakes, which means he wanted to plow through the black protesters with his car and knock down as many as he can." Now, that's one of the effects of this verdict, because even though Caucasian people don't necessarily like Asian people, they almost probably hate us worse. So, knowing that this man shot and killed a 14-year-old black boy, they're not worried about that part. They're worried about doing harm to the protesters, because they're protesting the fact that a man murdered a kid and got away with it. They don't care about that part. So if we're going to have our kids out there protesting, they need to do it the right way, because we have seen that they can do certain things to us and get away with it. So, like the situation happened a few years ago with Dylan Roof. He went out there with an assault rifle, killed people, but he was killing black protesters and got away with it. So we were protesting something bad that happened to us. They stepped in, did something to us, and still got away with it. So we need to educate our kids. And because they're his peers, most of the protesters have been kids. We got to teach them, don't be aggressively running up on Caucasian people. Don't be throwing stuff at their cars. That's a recipe for disaster. If you're going to protest to get your message out, then you protest to get your message out. But you got to be mindful that what just took place with that verdict is, now not only do they have a license to take our life and possibly get away with it, now Caucasian people are going to go back to feeling like they can as well, because this whole situation has showed the bigotry come out of people. They don't care that a young black boy was murdered. They care about another black person gone. They're happy to see that happen, and they want to contribute to that dynamic. And again, these are my opinions. These are my feelings. But no, all of them, not all Caucasian people are racist and bigots. Not all Asian people. Not all people, because even us as black people, we can be have a little bigot in us ourselves. But that's a discussion for another day, because our bigotry comes out of protection and fear of our own safety, because more the domino effect. So I was the day after the verdict, I was at the Dollar Tree on Garner's Ferry Road. There's about three of them. I won't say which one. And this young black employee got into it with this Mexican or Latino family. Excuse myself. And he almost got into a fight with the Latino woman, the Latino woman's husband, and the Latino woman's son, because the Latino woman called him a black boy. Now take it. This is the next day after Chow gets off with murdering a young black boy. She calls him a black boy. And the police were there, and the tensions in the city of Columbia are high right now. The tensions in the state of South Carolina are always high because we're in the South. We have to accept it is what it is. We are in the South, so the tensions are high. So like I said, you see how each thing has a domino effect. Each thing has a layer, from this verdict to the protesting, to the incident I'm talking about, Dollar Tree, to what we got to know about how we handle ourselves as a people. There's so many layers. When we're talking about boycotting, and we got to know what we're doing. We can't just go off emotion. We got to use our brain and think logically. Because if we let our emotions get in the way and let us make bad decisions, they win. The racists and the bigots win if we don't think logically and emotionally. Well, excuse me, logically and with less emotion. Don't act off emotion alone, but plan and be strategic and think logically, because they want us to be emotional. They want us to destroy stuff so that can validate their depiction of us, that we're just criminals and thugs, because they tried to paint this young black boy in a bad light, and I feel like that's part of the reason why he was acquitted. Mr. Chow was acquitted because there's a photo of him holding a weapon, and it looks like a bathroom, probably at home or whatever. And so the narrative behind that is, oh, he was a thug, he was a killer, they had every right to do it. So when we break down that part of it, so I see Caucasian people teach their sons and daughters, take pictures with their sons and daughters holding weapons, brandishing weapons, walking with their weapons, respectfully, that the Second Amendment gives them the right to do, and no one calls them a thug. No one calls them a criminal. No one stereotypes them or instantly makes them out to be a murderer. So we have to do things differently because the rules aren't the same for us. And, some people may not agree with what I'm saying, but whether you agree with me or not, this is what it is. We've seen it too many times over and over again for you not to agree with me or not to see what I'm saying. Several of us, our kids around this country, our men around this country, our women have been slaughtered. And some of the people that did the slaughtering are not us, and they've gotten away with it. And their whole thing is, well, you guys kill each other, you guys shoot each other, so it justifies the act of it. It doesn't. Nobody has the right to kill anyone. But to watch 30 Richland County deputy sheriffs protect this man's property, to watch Richland County and the city of Columbia be at this man's house protecting him, it speaks value. Because if we do something, we don't get that kind of protection. We don't get that kind of protection. So it these all things have a domino effect, and this verdict is just another case of we got to know what we're doing before we do it. We got to educate our children, because no parent should have to suffer what that boy's parents suffered over these last 2 to 3 years. To know that your child in the video was shown in court running away and got killed, and the person that did it got set free. Now, most parents probably could understand that if my child was posing a threat to you, pulled a gun on you, and you defended yourself and your family, most parents, as horrible as it may sound, they'll be hurt, they'll be devastated, but they can understand, because they know if the shoe was on the other foot and they had to protect their family, they would. But that family, Mr. Chow and his family weren't protecting anything. That young man was running away, and every video footage shows that he was running away. Every video footage shows he did not steal a thing. So, again, like I said, this whole verdict comes with layers about what that verdict told different communities what they can do to us. That verdict shows that we need to understand, when everybody just throws the word racist around, understand what racism is, understand what bigotry is. Yes, racism is the child of bigotry, but make sure you know, use your terminology, make sure you understand what's happening. Understand the other effect is the boycotting. Understand that if we're going to boycott and we're going to take ourselves or want these people out of our communities, then we better be able to step up and provide the services, the goods, and the products that we are going to need, because we interact with it, the things they produce every day. So if we're going to make them feel it, then fine, make them feel it. But the question you have to ask yourself is, making them feel it, what does that change? Because the other layer is the Asian guy that posted the video saying, good, if y'all don't want to come into our restaurants, if y'all don't want to come into our hair supply stores, if y'all don't want to come into our nail shops, our beauty shops, fine. We don't need your money. He pretty much said that. So, and at the end of the day, he has a valid point, because one thing we're going to learn is that sometimes they don't support each other because they're in our communities. So if they pull out our communities and they see each other struggling because they pulled out our community, or we pulled our dollar away, that gives them more ammunition to step up and support their own. So we do need to understand that sometimes what happens and we boycott, that causes them to rally together, and they be just fine at the end of the day. So we have to think about that, and we have to understand that we have to be ready to elevate ourselves to cover that. We can't just throw that out there arbitrarily and not be prepared. That's the part of reacting with emotion and not thinking logically. So, I know there's supposed to be some more protests. There's supposed to be a couple of memorial services for him. We got to support them and that family as a whole. I have to say that for myself. Um, but we have to really think about that. This is a serious thing, that the message that has been put out to the police departments and the other nationalities, that they can murder us. And there's a good opportunity to go free. When you watch, when that verdict came down, that man, like, he had the utmost confidence that he was going to walk away. Understand that his defense attorney came out of retirement to defend him. What does that tell you? That doesn't tell me that a defense attorney was just in it for money, because anybody with a decent moral compass, any attorney with a decent moral compass, you're entitled to a defense. But to come out of retirement to defend somebody, knowing the facts of that case, you glad that happened the way it happened. That shows that person's true character and their true belief. So there's a lot of dominoes. There's a lot of layers to what this verdict does, as well as every other verdict similar to this, where we are murdered and the people that did it walk. Again, did the state do a good job of prosecuting? Maybe they should have just went for manslaughter. At least maybe we got a guilty conviction. No, it doesn't bring it back, but at least he could do some time, because that man is, at his age, he knows he wouldn't have much life left to go if he would have been found guilty and sentenced to 25 years. So it leads to the better fact that, did he do it, or was it his son? There's a lot of sketchy situation and details with this case, but we got to understand what these layers are. We got to understand the consequences and the repercussions that this verdict has had. Because, again, we go out there, protest, and destroy things. Then we go into jail. Like, you have to understand, we have a man that's sitting in the highest office of the country wants to give people money for who did the insurrection on January 6th. January 6th. Wants to give them money. What did that tell you? That people can get away with certain things, and everybody know when you deface federal property, that's almost treason. But again, especially at that highest form of the government, but he wants to give them money for doing that. So, like, what do we do as a people? We got to learn that all of them are not bad. All of them don't hate us. All of them are not bigots. We do know that they do believe in sticking together in their community, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We as a community, as black people, would probably benefit a little bit more if we did a little bit more of that. Not saying everything got to be about hate and this, that, and the third, but giving to our community a little bit more will probably go a long way with the black community in the long run, as far as prosperity, togetherness, unity. So we that's one of those layers we should take away from this verdict, that we can be better. Now, again, I find it disgusting that he got away with it. And due to double jeopardy laws, the best thing the family could do is sue him civilly for wrongful death. And I pray they do that. Take him for everything he's got. But it's not enough money to bring your child back. But what other recourse do they have? Because they can't get criminal justice. They can never get criminal justice again unless the federal government steps in and charges this man with a hate crime, which, at this juncture, can we really believe that this administration would have somebody step up and charge this man with a hate crime? Let's be honest. So that is my rant on the Rick Chow verdict that happened here in Columbia, South Carolina this past week. I would love for you guys, when I post this video, to comment, share. I can do a follow-up video. Text in any responses, 803-509-4257. Email any suggestions, comments, um, cheaper than therapy show at gmail.com. When I post the video, please comment, subscribe, like, share. Please leave your comments. I want to do a follow-up video. I want to see how people feel. And I mean people, all shades, colors, shapes, sizes. I want to see how people feel because it truly lets you know where you are with people in a situation like this. Lets you know the people that's in your circle, lets you know what they're about and who they are. So I don't care about negative comments. Look here. I watched someone on social media said once you lose a parent or your mother, ain't too much else anybody can do to hurt your feelings. So I done experienced losing both of my parents. So you gotta do a lot to hurt my feelings, to hurt my heart at this juncture. You gotta do a lot. And what it means is I gotta actually allow you to be close enough to me to hurt my heart. And comments in a section on YouTube or Facebook ain't close enough. So, that is my overall rant. I want us as a people to do better. So I'm gonna switch. God bless the Cyrus family, and hope they, find peace and some kind of, some kind of peace in this type of situation, because it's not gonna it'll get easier with time, but at the same time, it won't get easier with time. So switching to a little lighter note, real estate wise, housing prices are down. So if you're looking into buying a home, now is the time, even though interest rates are a little bit up, but housing prices are down. If you're looking to sell your home, I'll be more than happy to list your house and sell it for you. I'm still selling cars, sales manager now. So again, that's why the videos come far in between. I'm trying to work myself back into a better routine. I'm working on possibly trying to do have guests via Zoom. I gotta see if I can set that up. I'm working on that this week. The New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals. They're up 2-0, which they haven't been in the finals in 30 years now. Being born and raised to the age of 10 in New York, you would think I'd be a New York Knicks fan. Unfortunately, I'm not. I've always been a Chicago Bulls fan. That because I watched Michael Jordan in 1984 at UNC win the championship with James Worthy. So I became a Bulls fan. When he retired, I kind of just... And everybody said, well, you a LeBron fan. Yeah, I am. Because I don't have a team to gravitate to like that anymore, because sports is a little watered down for me at this juncture. But it would be a great thing for the city of New York to win a championship. I still have family in that city, so I know they are waiting, salivating, waiting for the Knicks to win 4 games and be champions. So, that's something that'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks. But I want everybody to think about what I just said when it comes to the Chow Verdict, and what I said about racism versus bigotry, what I said about the domino effects, what I said about thinking with logic instead of emotion, because right now we're all emotional because we're tired of seeing our men, women, and children being murdered by people, including our own people. We're tired of it. Comment, share, like, subscribe, text me 803-509-4227. I want to do a follow-up video, and I'm going to try to do my follow-up video via Zoom and have some guests on so we could talk about this topic in depth, because it's been happening too many. It ain't just about what has taken place here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's taking place in every state in this country, and we're tired of it. So, again, cheaper than therapy show at gmail.com, 803-509-4257. It's going up on my YouTube page. I'm starting to wonder if I start doing it on Facebook. I'm not 100% sure yet. I like a little bit of the exclusivity of being on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify. But I haven't done a video this long in a while. But this is one that situation kind of it got me wondering, because I have a 21-year-old. Well, my son will be 21 in July. He's in college, and as a father of a young black male, it makes you cringe to watch a family lose a son because of hatefulness, and if my son was out there being a harm to the community, first of all, he wouldn't have to worry about somebody hurting him, because I would hurt him first. Because I wasn't raised that way, and I didn't raise him that way. So I'm not saying his parents raised him wrong or whatever, but we got to do better. We got to do better. So again, I want everybody to watch this video. I know it's kind of long. You can take 45 minutes out your day. Subscribe. It's free, costs you nothing. Share, costs you nothing. Comments cost you nothing. I appreciate all those who have subscribed, liked, and shared. I want you guys to have a wonderful Sunday and enjoy and be safe out there and protect your kids.